So as I mentioned earlier on, this bustier pattern can be modified into so many things. This bustier pattern can be modified to give us an off-shoulder madame blouse. This same bustier pattern can also be modified to give us a 12-piece blouse. So I put the link to the 12-piece madam blouse and the off-shoulder madam blouse pattern in this, so it can actually be modified to do them, and I don't want to go ahead to start modifying them in this particular video. So in this video I want to go ahead to start working on the sewing, the cutting out, and all of that. So to do this work, we're going to be needing our scissors to cut out the pattern. We're going to be needing our fabric, so this lovely fabric here. We're going to be needing our fabric gum. Some people call it stay. It's stay actually. So you need your stay. If I wanted to do a modification, I'd be using my pattern curves, but I don't want to do the modification on this video. So I'm going to send you the link to watch the other videos in the description box. So do well to watch that video. So this is the softest part. We're going to use the softest part for the main fabric, that's the front piece. Then on the lining we're going to use the air stay, and on the back piece we're also going to use the air stay because we need the back not to be as thick as the front. Okay, so next thing we're going to do is that we're going to go ahead to start cutting out our pattern. Like I said, this one now would have a shoulder. This particular bustier is going to have a shoulder. It's going to have a normal neckline. You can see what we've worked on so far. Remember, the front and the back waistline were not equal, so you're going to close up this dart to make them equal. The front waistline was longer than the back, so we're going to close it up to make it equal. So if you're new to my channel, do well to subscribe. Do well to order any of my books on Amazon if you've not ordered yet. Pattern making for the African woman and advanced pattern mastery for the African woman. Okay, so now we've gotten to this point. Now that we've gotten to this point, we can go ahead to cut the center piece separately. So like I told you, we're using this edge as the hem allowance, so we can just go ahead to cut it separately. To eliminate our dart on the armhole, we cut this off. Then, as I told you, we're having this shoulder slant, so we just cut off our shoulder slants and the neckline and the depth. Whatever it is you want to do to it, just go ahead and do to it. So this is our center front. It's going to come out on a fold. So here we're going to go ahead to cut this off. So if you'd like to enroll for a physical fashion academy in ENUGU, we have hostel accommodation for persons who don't stay in ENUGU town. You can visit us physically at 48 Nene Street, opposite Queen School, Oguini Layout, ENUGU. You can also contact us on 070 3211 3474. So at this point, we go ahead to cut out the pattern, eliminate the armhole dart like so, and then we go ahead to also split the bust dart. We split it on one side so that it can give us room to place it over the other side and use a masking tape or a liquid gum to lay it over on the other side. So you can see how it's coming out fine. So the essence of doing this is that it helps you to have more curve on this side piece. The next thing we're going to do is to go ahead to cut out the back piece. We just cut it out, cut it round like your normal bodice piece. You cut it out. So if you're not subscribed to my channel up until this moment, do click on the subscribe button and click on the bell stroke notification button so that you can get notified whenever I post very high quality new tutorials on this channel. Remember, we added a waist dart so that we can eliminate the bulge on the waistline. So we'll just eliminate one of them, then lay it over the other side. Still use our masking tape or liquid gum to close it up so we can have our desired effect. So once we're done with that, we'll go ahead to cut out the rest of the back piece. By the time we're done cutting it out, we'll just keep it separately. We're going to cut 2 pieces each on the main fabric. So if you'd like to sign up for my physical fashion academy classes, you can register with us at ENUGU, 48 Nenny Street, opposite Green School, Ogwini Layout, ENUGU. We also have hostel accommodation for those who do not stay close by. So went ahead to stay the fabric. This is the main fabric we're working with. Such a beautiful fabric. We have to attach a stay to about 1 yard. I want to use the fabric as a lining. I don't want to use a conventional lining, so I'm going to go ahead to pin it like so and then cut it. So you can see how I'm cutting it, 2 pieces each, so you don't have to cut them separately, so that you don't end up cutting left or right. So when we're done cutting this, we'll also cut out the front pieces like the same way, but now we're not using SA for the front pieces, we're using softest pad for the front pieces. So usually I like to gauge my patterns before I cut, like place the patterns to know the amount of material I should cover with the pad. So here is the back piece. We'll remove the pins, we'll place them side by side, pin them the way they are supposed to be, and then we'll take them to the sewing machine to stitch. So you're also going to do exactly same thing to your lining, even if you're not using your fabric as lining. So I'm just using the fabric as lining because that's actually what I wanted to do. So that's it. So we'll stitch using 1/2 inch. So this is the front piece. Remember, it's padded, so you just go ahead and use 1/2 inch. I always like to use fabric marker for my work so that it can always disappear as I'm doing the work. So you trace out the outline of where you want to stitch on. You can see my sharp point. When you get to the sharp point, you dip your needle, raise your presser foot and turn around. Alright, so yeah, proceed this way and proceed. Make sure you don't have any pleats or gathers. You take it easy. You don't have to rush right here, just take it easy. So take it easy, no pleats, no gathers, because that's a very sensitive area. If there are pleats or gathers, it's going to show, and it's on the bust area. It's going to look very obvious and tacky. So this is the shape it's giving me after stitching one side, so I'll do the same thing to the other side. Then I would now go ahead to also stitch my back piece using 1/2 inch each. So that one comes out a lot easier, even for total beginners. So it comes out a lot easier, no much twists and winds, so just that way. So we go ahead to stitch it up until the end and also do the same thing to the other side, and then we are ready to iron. So here's the back piece. We're going to split the waistline. That's why we're just going to give it a little bit of a notch. Then that's the front. We're not just giving it a little bit of a notch, we're going to give it a thorough notch so that we can iron thoroughly using our Tailors ham. So you can see the main piece, how it looks. So I'm going to trace around the neckline area, the front piece, so that I can be able to cut off the excess pad that got up to that point of the neckline. So I'll just peel it off a little bit. Typically it's best to do this before you place your ironing, but with the ironing method we use, we always iron the softest pad all through the entire part of the blouse. So yes, our blouse would always have structure no matter how cheap the material is, because we place our softest pad from the shoulder point up to the full length of the blouse. So now you have to trim off the one on the neckline so you can see the shape. We do the same thing to other pieces. So we go ahead to notch. You can see how I'm notching it. It's like a V cut at very close intervals. If you give it very far intervals, it won't relax as it's supposed to relax. So you just make close intervals, do your cuts, and do the same thing to the other side. Then we'll now place our Tailors ham under it, sprinkle a sufficient amount of water, and then iron it. Water is a better conductor of heat than air, and that's why we always insist you either use a steam iron or you sprinkle water using a bottle and iron it. So you can see how the seams are opening. So if you noticed, I didn't really notch the lower part because here it's pretty much flat, so it doesn't really require that much notching. A straight iron can just go ahead to fix it. So now we open up this bust area. We'll open up the bust area, sprinkle our water as usual, and still iron it. I'm sprinkling water because I'm not really using the steam part of the iron, so that's why I'm sprinkling water. Like I said, water is a better conductor of heat than air. So you can sign up for any of my online courses. You can get any of my books on Amazon. You can also get them in Nigeria. Advanced Pattern Mastery for the African Woman for intermediate and advanced students, or Pattern Making for the Shapely African Woman for beginners and some intermediate students. These books are really loaded. I went all naked on pattern drafting techniques on those books, and those books teach you a whole lot: the rudiments of corsetry, jumpsuit, pattern drafting, so many things to learn from those books. So if you'd like to sign up for our physical academy, we have a physical academy here in ENUGU, EREX Academy of Fashion. You can check us out on www.erexfashionacademy.com and see the amazing work our students are doing. So we'll take the back pieces after ironing. We'll take the back pieces and pin them shoulder to shoulder like so. You see how it's looking, coming out really nice. So after doing that, we also do the same thing to the lining piece. After doing that to the lining piece, we stitch it on our sewing machine. So that's using 1/2 inch sewing allowance. After stitching, you can open seam your shoulder line. You now place the front, that's the main fabric, to the lining fabric. When you place them together, you pin them like so that you can run your stitches all the way around and stitch using 1/2 inch sewing allowance. If this video has been useful to you, please click on the subscribe button, like and share so that others too can learn. You can click on the notification bell so that you can get notified when we post new tutorials. Also, we have available online courses. You can sign up for any of our online courses. Check the link in the description box so that you can get details to sign up for our online courses. So now that we're done stitching, we go ahead to notch. That's using our scissors to cut at intervals of 1/2 inch. Do not cut at intervals more than 1/2 inch. Why? Because the effect of the notching will not be there if you cut at anything more than 1/2 inch. So after notching, we go ahead to top stitch. That's for the lining. We'll top stitch the lining so that it lays flat. Notching without top stitching does not let your fabric lay flat, but when you notch and top stitch, it helps with the job. It helps the neckline to lay very flat. So we also go ahead to iron it neatly. After ironing it, we'll stitch the sides using 1/2 inch, turn it neatly before we join front and back. I hope this tutorial has been helpful to you. Please click on the like button and subscribe and share, of course, so that others too can learn. On this channel, I share a lot of tutorial tips on fashion business, and other tech tips. So you can see how it's turning out. Remember, I used softest padding all through. I didn't use the thick padding. If I had used the thick padding, it would have been thicker and stronger, but I didn't want to use the thick padding. I wanted to use something small, and if I was using that thick padding, I would have concentrated it on the bust area. So after turning the sides using 1/2 inch, I had to come back to the table to iron it. Okay, so we turned from the inside, please, not from the outside. So we didn't do like a normal inseam stitch. We had to do an outside stitch that you would actually see the sewing allowance and all that. All right, so here we have the front. One mistake you are going to make is going to iron the bust area directly. You end up flattening it. Please don't do that. Always place something underneath, even if you don't have a tailor's ham, which by the way you can construct it on your own. I'll add the link to the video on how to make a tailor's ham in this video. Even if you don't have a tailor's ham, just pack clothes inside. Thank you for watching.